Welcome to my channel. My name is Nerina, and this is the story of my life. A story that didn't begin with confidence or happiness, but with silence. When I was a little girl, I was extremely quiet. So quiet that many people around me barely noticed I was there. Some children are loud, some are playful, some love to be the center of attention. But I was different. I was the kind of child who preferred to sit quietly in a corner, watching the world instead of being part of it. I didn't talk much. In fact, I hardly spoke at all. Not because I didn't have thoughts, but because my thoughts always stayed inside my heart. When I started going to school, I hoped things would change. I thought maybe I would make friends. Maybe someone would understand me. But school quickly became another place where I felt invisible. Every day I sat quietly in the last seat of the classroom. While other students raised their hands and answered questions, I kept my eyes on my notebook, not because I didn't want to answer, but because I was afraid. Afraid that my voice would shake. Afraid that people would laugh. Studying was not easy for me. I truly wanted to learn. I wanted to understand the lessons just like everyone else, but many times the words on the page felt confusing. I would stare at my books for a long time, trying again and again to understand. Sometimes I wished someone would come and explain things slowly to me, but that never really happened. In class, the teachers always focused on the top students. They praised them, they encouraged them, and of course those students deserved it. But students like me, the quiet ones, the struggling ones, were often forgotten. No one asked if I needed help. No one asked why I was always so quiet. I was just another face sitting at the back of the room. Slowly, some of the students began to notice me, but not in a kind way. They noticed that I never spoke. They noticed that I always sat alone, and for some reason that made them laugh. Sometimes they whispered about me. Sometimes they joked and said, "Has anyone ever heard her speak? Maybe she doesn't even know how to talk." Their laughter echoed in my ears, and even though I stayed silent on the outside, inside those words hurt deeply. There were days when I wanted to speak, days when I wanted to tell them that I could talk, that I had thoughts and feelings just like everyone else. But every time I tried, the words felt stuck in my throat. So instead of speaking, I stayed quiet. During recess, while other children played together, I usually sat alone, sometimes on a bench, sometimes near the swings. I watched the other children laughing and running together, and I wondered what it felt like to belong somewhere, to have someone waiting for you, to have a friend. But for me, recess was just another moment of silence. Even though I was lonely, my mind was never empty. Inside my quiet world, there were many dreams. Sometimes I imagined a future where things were different, a future where people listened to me, a future where I was no longer invisible. I didn't know how that future would come, but somewhere deep inside my heart, a small voice kept telling me not to give up. Maybe one day someone would understand me. Maybe one day I would find the courage to speak. Maybe one day this quiet girl sitting in the back of the classroom would finally be seen. At that time, I didn't realize it, but those lonely days were shaping me. They were slowly teaching me strength, because sometimes the quietest people carry the strongest stories, and my story was only just beginning. In the next chapter of my life, things would slowly begin to change. New challenges would appear, new lessons would come, and the shy little girl named Nerina would begin a journey she never expected. A journey that would slowly take her from darkness into the light. This is only the beginning of my story. My name is Nerina, and this is the journey of rising from the shadows.
If you like my story, then do like, share, and subscribe this channel for part 2.